Good morning, parents and Secondary 1 students, and welcome to CCA Display Day 2022. Now, today we'll be going through a program to tell you a little bit more about our CCAs as well as Jurong Secondary School itself. And I'm Mr. Darius, and I will be your host for today. Now, first up, we have our principals, our Principal Mrs. Lim Soo Chin and our Vice Principal Ms. Deborah Tan, who are going to tell you a little bit more about Jurong Secondary School. Mrs. Lim, please.
A very good morning to Sec 1 parents and students. I hope all of you are doing well. And thank you so much for being online with us today. We would have very much liked to meet you face to face, but schools must still take precautions and safety measures. And so we seek your understanding that we hold this online. And I hope that your children have had a good first week with us. They had activities such as drama, games, laser tag, learning a mass dance. I saw the children excitedly playing and making new friends. So today I would like to share with you about the focus of secondary education and Jurong Secondary's commitment, including details about full subject-based banding. Thereafter, our Vice Principal, Ms. Deborah Tan, will continue regarding student development in JSS and our staff. First, the focus of secondary education. Now, these 4 years are the final leg of 10 years of a basic education. It goes beyond just academic learning. At the secondary level, we believe in a broad and inclusive approach to provide each child with a holistic education. This ensures that our students have a deep foundation for learning, develop values, and commitment to Singapore. Overall, they learn for life and they're equipped for lifelong learning. So you will notice one key difference at the secondary level compared to primary. That's the number of subjects. No doubt your child will feel this difference. From 4 examinable subjects, English, Maths, Science, and Mother Tongue languages, now there are 9. The same 4 plus design and technology, food and consumer education, what you may fondly remember as your home economics, history, geography, literature, and of course, they still have PE, art, music, CCE. At secondary level, CCAs become an integral part of a student's life. I'm sure many of you remember your CCAs fondly as well. Our children mostly spend a lot of time and very meaningful time in their CCA, building strong friendships, developing their passion, learning teamwork, developing leadership skills, so as to contribute to the school or to the society. So you can see that the lower secondary curriculum gives your child plenty of opportunities to explore diverse interests and hone different strengths. Do give your child some space, some time to adjust to secondary education. Now, it is also important in secondary school that there continues to be strong teacher-student relationships. Teachers are a very important source of positive adult influence in our teenagers' lives. We help to provide different perspectives on the children's behaviors in school, and we will definitely work closely with parents to support their learning. As teenagers, peer support is also very important. They often share and confide in their peers or seniors. And the peer support program in JSS will help students learn how they can be there for each other and strongly support each other. As young adults, the children also start to think about their future and what they can progress to in terms of studies or career. So throughout the 4 or 5 years they have with us, they will learn more about the choices they have and how education now is a lot more flexible with different pathways for different students. And of course, other activities such as learning journeys or sports and outdoor education help our children develop resilience and lifelong learning skills. Now, part of the JSS experience is to appreciate and understand our heritage and traditions. As you have seen from the video earlier, Jurong is an established school, right? The first secondary school in Jurong, and we were started in 1963 by our founding PM as a school set in the community and for the community. So we continue to work hand in hand very closely with the Taman Jurong community. Our students will have ample opportunities to experience real-life learning and authentic learning when they go out to serve the community. All along, we have been strong in sports, our sporting excellence, not just in our niche sports, basketball and volleyball, but to other sports. It is a way of life and a character-building experience for all our JSS students. Throughout their time here, they will have exposure to different sports, learn different skills that will last them beyond the school for a healthy lifestyle. And importantly, we excel in both the non-academics and in the academics. Our JSS students have consistently performed well, achieving above the national average for performance in N and O-level exams. On average, 99% of our express students are eligible to progress to polytechnics and 82% eligible to progress to JCs. What's important is that we also offer a large number of subject combinations so that our upper secondary students can pursue their interests, be it in the sciences or humanities. We are flexible. We try our best to cater to the students. Almost 80% get their first choice. We have classes where students take a mixture of subject combinations. So it is not a must that all students in that same upper secondary class take the same subject combination. In this way, we are better able to meet student preferences. Then in terms of teaching, all along, we have emphasized innovation in teaching and learning. We use technology so that we prepare our students well for their workplace, which I think we all know is going to be globalized and digital. So last year, the school started on a one-to-one computing device model, where each student will have a personal learning device, which is the iPad for our school. The Sec 1s will be getting their iPad sometime in term 2. And my colleagues will update more on this later. Of course, the school will be mindful to ensure the students use the iPad responsibly. We will have controls in place to ensure time is well spent on the device. There should not be excessive use either. So what is our vision for our students? We aim to develop students who are champions of mind and leaders with heart. This means that through all that we do, we give our students the experiences to help them achieve these student outcomes, to be a flexible thinker, one who is curious, open-minded, able to appreciate and understand diverse views, a persevering learner, someone who explores different ways to solve problems and despite facing challenges, won't give up. A concerned citizen, someone who will care for others, understand what matters to the society and to Singapore, and overall a confident person with moral courage, adaptable to change, communicates effectively and pursues excellence. I would now like to share some specific information on an area that is new and exciting for Jurong Secondary, and this is on full subject-based banding. There are different aspects, so let me explain this. First, flexibility in subject offering. Now, this has been in place for several years in our education landscape. For students in the NA and NT courses, they can offer 4 subjects at a higher level in Sec 1 if they performed well in these subjects at PSLE. Right? This is not compulsory. Your children may not wish to take it up if they are not ready. And for students who don't meet the criteria to offer a higher level subject at the start of Sec 1, they can still do so. If they do well in the subject, they have a chance to be offered this later, maybe at the middle of Sec 1 or end of Sec 1 or at end of Sec 2. So we have done this since 2014. This is called subject-based banding. We were one of the first schools in Singapore that started 7 years ago. So it is no surprise that in 2020, when MOE embarked on full subject-based banding, Jurong Secondary was one of the first schools to implement some new aspects. So what are these? Okay, let me explain that. First, we give Sec 2 NA students the opportunity to offer humanities subjects at a higher level. Now, these subjects, history, geography, and literature, they are new to them at Sec 1. If they perform well, they can take it at the express level in Sec 2. The second aspect is that we organize our Sec 1 students in mixed form classes. We started in 2020, so this is already our third year of doing so. It has turned out very well. Firstly, each Sec 1 form class is smaller than the usual, approximately 32 students in each class. If you ask your child, you will know this. And in addition, each class has a mixture of about 19 students, 20 students from Express, 9 students from NA, about 5 students from NT. So this form class will be together for some subjects: art, CCE, design and technology, food and consumer education, music and PE. This is about 1/3 of curriculum time in school. For the other subjects, they will go to different classes depending on whether they're taking it at the Express, NA or NT level. Right, and Jurong Secondary is proud to be a trailblazer in this. In fact, all schools will be adopting full SBB over the next few years, so it will not be unique to us, but we want to assure you that our several years of experience makes us well equipped. We have very strong support from MOE HQ. The form class sizes are smaller, and over 2 years, they develop a very positive and close-knit class culture. Our students are also known to be respectful and disciplined. We have caring and excellent teachers. This is a reflection that I share here from a Sec 1 Express student, that FSBB has helped him to make new friends of diverse backgrounds. He learned how to communicate better, work with different people. He has made many new friends. Right. So in closing, I want to warmly welcome all parents to our JSS family, and that your children are in good hands. JSS has a tradition of excellence in all areas. We have many programs to support all our children. Furthermore, we have strong support from our school advisory committee, from the larger Taman Jurong community, from our parent support group, and you'll be hearing from them later today as well, and also from our alumni. So we're very pleased that you and your child are joining us for an enriching and vibrant school life. With Jurong Lake Gardens just across the road, it is like an extension of our school, a garden in our backyard that we have access to conveniently for educational experiences. This shows some of our students conducting a maths trail, immersing themselves in learning in an authentic setting. So with that, I end my sharing here, and I'll hand the time over to Ms. Deborah Tan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Lim. Good morning, everyone. Okay, now let me share with you our JSS Student Development experiences. Besides what students learn in their subjects, JSS provides opportunities for all our students to appreciate the arts, develop leadership, contribute to the community, and take part in meaningful CCAs. We have 20 different CCAs, ranging from clubs and societies, to performing arts, sports and games, and uniform groups. Our CCAs excel in what they do, with many achieving good results nationally. These are some of our achievements in the past few years. As the National School Games had to be suspended during the pandemic, many of our sportsmen were not able to participate in competitions for the past 2 years. This slide shows the most recent achievements of our uniform groups. In the development of student leadership, we believe that every Jurong Secondary School student is a leader with heart, guided by the school values of loyalty, industry, sincerity, and love. We have a tiered approach in our leadership development, and we have a dedicated team of teachers taking care of student leadership in JSS. Most students would have opportunities to hone their leadership skills in tiers 1 and 2, with the pinnacle of Student Council Executive Committee, CCA leaders, and senior counselors at tier 3. As mentioned earlier, we started off as a school by the community for the community. Therefore, We always strive to give back to the community in our Values in Action program. Students would have opportunities to advocate for different causes each year. So these pictures show a cohort of Set 1 students working together to write appreciation notes and put together care packages for our JSS cleaners and also help to clean the school. For our Set 3s, just before the pandemic, we collaborated with Taman Jurong constituency in an elderly befriender project, where our students learned not just how to interact with the elderly who stay alone, but also gain awareness of the societal issues and impact of an aging population in Singapore. In a typical year, our Sec 4s would embark on an overseas service learning trip to ASEAN countries. During the pandemic years, we moved our interactions online and also heard from the experiences of some Singaporeans and homegrown businesses who had ventured into ASEAN countries through online forum sessions. Our Learning for Life program, LLP for short, is about sports. We aim for our students to plan and sustain a healthy lifestyle while nurturing their characters and fostering strong relationships with their peers. Our students also get to experience different sporting activities throughout their 4 to 5 years with us. So as you can see, some of the pictures shows sports activities such as kayaking, inline skating, speed climbing, archery, and trampolining. Last but not least, the Inspire program considers emerging trends and offers students learning opportunities that broaden their knowledge and increase the level of awareness. As part of our annual Learning Fest, students get to learn different things such as augmented reality and coding. Should students want to pursue a specific area of interest in greater depth, they can apply for the Inspire Award. The cash grant would support participation in workshops for causes initiated by the students at individual or group levels in various domains, and this is one of the programs supported by our School Advisory Committee. So let me go on and introduce to you our dedicated staff. You have met our principal, Mrs. Lim Soo Chin. I'm Ms. Deborah Tan, one of 2 vice principals. Let me also introduce to you the other vice principal, Madam Julia Le. Some of our key personnel, we have Mrs. Fahain Aidil, HOD of English Language. For Maths, we have Mr. Wee Wei Yong as the HOD and a subject head, Madam Zheng Jie Yun. For Mother Tongue, HOD, Miss Ng Ching Ing, and our subject head for Chinese language, Madam Zoe O. For Science, our HOD is Madam Lim Yen Mui, and our subject head is Mr. Traven Low. Mrs. Juliana Ng is our HOD for Applied Studies. She takes care of subjects such as art, music, CPA, EBS, as well as design and technology and food and consumer education, more commonly known as food and nutrition. For our ICT department, our HOD would be Mr. Chris Locke. You will be hearing from him in a short while, as well as our subject head, Mr. Lam Chi Leong. Our HOD for Humanities is Ms. Anna Chai, and our school staff developer is Mr. Eric Tan. Our student development team, you will be hearing from Mr. Noor in a while as well, our HOD for PE and CCA. Our subject head is Ms. Ong Wei Chen. Our HOD for CCE is Mr. Stanley Tan. And Mr. Samuel is our HOD for student management as well as student leadership. And assisting Mr. Samuel is Ms. Phua Shi Wen, subject head for student management. Okay, other important people you will see and meet along the years, our year heads and assistant year heads, Ms. Hannah Wen, year head, and she takes care of our Sec 2 level. Mr. Muhammad Fadzuli, assistant year head, he takes care of the Sec 3s. Ms. Yana, you will be hearing from her quite a bit this year. She's our assistant year head and she takes care of our Sec 1s. Last but not least, we have Ms. Chua Xing Tian, assistant year head, and she takes care of our Sec 4s as well as our Sec 5s. Okay, we also have level coordinators. We have Madam Wang Chui Fok, Ms. Suryani, Mr. Ng Teck Kun, and Ms. Clarice Teo. We have 4 senior teachers in JSS. Let me introduce them to you. We have Ms. Siti Dahlia, senior teacher for Malay language. For educational support, we have 2 senior teachers, Madam Teo Kaping, as well as Mr. Lim Kok Ming. Ms. Juliana Johar is our senior teacher for chemistry. In terms of admin support, Madam Tina Chua and Madam Koh Kiat Peng are our admin managers. Our operations manager is Mr. Quek. And if you get a chance to walk into our general office, you will be greeted by our counter staff, Madam Isma, as well as Madam Yvonne Lim. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you so much, Ms. Tan, for that sharing, and Mrs. Lim for the earlier sharing as well. I hope that they've told you a little bit about what to expect as a Jurong Secondary School student. All right, so next up, we have a very important talk by Mr. Chris Locke, who is our HOD of ICT, who is going to tell you a little bit more about cyber wellness, which is especially important as our students will be getting their personal learning devices soon. Mr. Locke, please.
Hey, hi everyone, a very good morning. Welcome to Jurong Secondary School. I'll be sharing to you on cyber wellness and our NTLP program. Yeah, okay. So actually our school, as you know from last year, our school actually have been the first phase of the National Digital Literacy Program. And it has been launched to make digital learning inclusive by equipping students with digital literacy to be future ready. Yeah, so we aim to equip our students with these skills of finding, thinking, creating, and applying digital skills to do all these 4. In Jurong Secondary School, in fact, all secondary schools, we have a personal learning device. While in Jurong Secondary School, we will actually have this iPad. The device that your child will be getting is actually the iPad Gen 9. The cost will be actually $842, and of course, don't worry, because the price will be subsidized through the use of EduSave and additional EduSave top-up. The reason why we choose this device is because of its portability, durability, the touch screen interface, the keyboard, and the long battery life. This device will come up with a 3-year warranty and insurance. Yeah, so it actually inclusive of let's say it's actually being broken, by accidental damage and things. We actually have a free replacement for it. We'll actually come up tell you more about this, so don't worry about this. We will give you more information when the time comes to purchase the device. Yes, this is actually the description on the FAS top up, whereby you actually have cash out pocket of $0. One time EduSave top up of $200 which was given. This is the schedule for the rollout for the device. So in January, what happened is we'll be giving you the consent form for the purchase and the use of EduSave. And in April, the students will be actually getting the device. Please do take note that if you have not made a decision to purchase for the first half of 2022, the second and the purchases only, don't worry, you actually can buy in July. However, the collection date will be November to next year. So we urge parents to place order as soon as possible in January, when we actually give out the form. There's also helpline. Once again, all this will actually be shown to you again on how to find out your EduSave balance and if there's any financial assistance available. Next up, good news is that Jurong Secondary School, we have lockers for every student. Yeah, so every student have their own personal locker. The locks will be actually available in February. So we will roll to your child in February, whereby they will have a lock that they are supposed to buy from the school bookshop. Yeah, So students actually can keep their books and device safe in the lockers when they're in school. They are advised, of course, at the end of the day to bring any digital device home for home-based learning and charging. Okay, we also have a FAQ lah. So if my child already have an iPad, can he actually use it in school lessons? The answer is actually yes. Yeah. However, to ensure that he's not distracted from the apps and games that's in our iPad. So actually we will install this DMA control on the iPad. This is to ensure that teachers can continue their classes and students will not play games in the class, of course. Next, when your child graduate, will this DMA be uninstalled? Definitely, yeah. So after graduation, the school will uninstall all forms of device control over the iPad. So the iPad fully belong to the child and youth. Okay, so next is about the rules in the school on the device usage. So device may be used before and after school and during recess time. So later actually I'll zoom in onto handphone so that you all know what are the rules for handphone. So they only the device can be used during lesson upon request of the teachers. Device are not to be charged in school, so we hope that everyone charge them before they come to school. Device are the responsibility of students, so they need to take good care of them and make sure they're secure in their bags or in the lockers in February. Let me just zoom in a bit on mobile phone, use of mobile phone. So just ensure that when your child reach to school, they have to keep their mobile phones safely outside in their bags before the start of flag raising, which is 7:30. Yeah. Next, yes, in our school, students will be using their mobile phone for learning. Yeah. So with the permission of their teachers. So do take note, the mobile phone must be in their bags unless the teachers are them to take it out. During lunchtime, yes, they actually can use their mobile phone in a safe manner without disrupting ongoing school activities. And lastly, students found using mobile phone in an inappropriate way, the school staff actually will be request them to remove the inappropriate content. Okay, so this is the DMA function, the mobile guardian management, which will install in your iPad. I'll actually let you know more about it. Okay, what is this DMA? During school hours, what will happen is only school apps will be available in the iPad. So you actually ensure that the apps are filtered such that only learning apps are available. After school, from the time of 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., parents have 3 configurations to choose from. And then at the big time, which is 11 to 6 a.m., iPad will be disabled to encourage students to have enough sleep. Yeah, so of course, this is very important. We hope that the students get into the habit of sleeping early so that they come to school refreshed. Let me talk to you about the 3 type of configurations that you can choose from. There's actually a default, option A, and option B. We strongly recommend parents to choose the default setting when this is available to you. In this setting, only school apps will be available from the time of 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., which is they can use all the learning apps that it will help them in their education. We hope that essentially the iPad is for them to learn, to help them in their studies. Okay, for option A is for parents who are very experienced with parental control app like Mobile Guardian, because after some trial we realized that the system is quite complex. So yeah, if you wish to choose the app for your child, you may need to read up quite a fair bit on this itself. We'll provide all the manuals and documentation on such if you wish to control your child's app. For option B, for parents who feel that they wish to let their child have more apps after school, yes, we can do that too. That's option B. So what happens is from the time of 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., the child can install any app in the iPad after school. These apps will only appear after school, and during school hours, they will actually be filtered off. Please do take note, we need your parents' help to actually, if you choose option B, to look after your child to ensure that the iPad is safe. Okay, these options will be made available to you during the iPad purchase. Yeah, but if there's a need to change, don't worry, you can visit our website then to make a change after that. Yeah. Next, we just have a very brief on cyber wellness curriculum. Okay, generally, we hope that students will learn respect for themselves, to be safe online, and be positive in the internet. So whichever comment they talk to their friends or to the public, they are being positive there. They exercise, they understand the need to be safe and responsible and to respect others. Next, to know about the risks that's online and to understand the ever-changing landscape in the online world, and of course to take action to be safe itself. So the school will have one cyber wellness talk per year, but we also have a number of cyber wellness lessons for students itself. You cover their cyber identity, their cyber citizenship, how to have a positive presence in the school, in the cyber community, and how to establish a good relation and respectful relationship with people online. And lastly, a healthy balance of online and offline activities. Yeah, so to understand that the life in secondary school is not just online. Yeah, it's the peer relationship, talking to one another, which is very important also. Yeah. As a parent, we need your help to guide your child in the use of technology. So we have this a few things to share with you. Yeah, so please provide opportunities for a variety of offline events, activities for your child. Also, be active in the control of all computing device. Role model good digital habits. Establish ground rules for your child's internet use. Let them know it's a privilege for this time. So to be able to use the internet, they must actually behave well. Navigate the internet with your child to understand or he or her use. And lastly, talk to her about it. There are actually additional resources for you to look up. This actually will be available in the slides which will be uploaded in our school website. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Locke, for that sharing. Next up, we have a sharing for our parents, right? We have Mr. Eric To, who is our chairperson of our parent support group, who will tell you a little bit more about their involvement in the Jurong Secondary School program. Mr. To, please.
Hello, good morning, parents. Welcome to Jurong Secondary School. My name is Eric. I'm the chairman for JSS PhD ESCO committee. I have two daughters, eldest in Ngee Polytechnic and graduating next month. Youngest Sec 4 in JSS this year. Today is also a CCA display day for Sec 1 student, but it's also a day for Sec 1 parent to take on a different challenge from now. Your child is moving into a teenager's journey. How should they get in touch or connected with him or her like in primary school again? So I'm here to share. For the benefit of those that does not know what is PSG. So PSG stands for Parent Support Group, and it's a volunteer group that formed by parents. PSG works closely with the school, communicating regularly with the school, as well as sharing of experience among parents. PSG is a platform, or should I say, it's an opportunity that school allow us to leverage on to get in touch with the teenager's life. In short, I make it simple, PSG created an opportunity for parents to get closer to our child and understand them better. Parent support could enable parents to get connected with each other and also provide support and share experience to deal with day-to-day issues that you might have with your child. Also, you will realize that a lot of parents are struggling with the same challenge you are facing. By sharing the experience and challenges in a parent support group, you might find ways and supportive ideas that can be very healing. As there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. So PSG can provide a sense of community and belonging, and it can be fun and relief as you share your story with other parents in the group. You could gain much sense of relief. So parents, do not hesitate. I sincerely welcome you to join our group, and I'm looking forward to receive you. And today my team has prepared some activity slide, and please enjoy watching the slide. Okay, this is a regular meetings that we used to have in the school, but now it's on Zoom online with principals and the school staff. And these are some of the focus that we are doing. And these are activities that we work closely with the schools, the PhD family days, and some activities that we have in the schools also. Like the previous years, we have CCA Display Day, and then we have a booth for our PhD also, and New Year celebration, and all these are events that we have in schools. And this year, we have the motivation card for end the O-level graduation students. We have also have Teachers' Day gift for the teachers. Okay, we have set up an exclusive Facebook page for JSS PSG, which is JSS Parents. So this Facebook is exclusive for JSS Parent only. You are invited to join this Facebook. This is a link. And also, if you are interested to join us, this is a QR code that you can scan and register, and our team will get in touch with you. I'll leave this space for a while. Please, I do welcome you to join us. And before I end the session, I also like to check. I believe parents have set up your gateway apps, the parent gateway apps. Okay. A few days ago, school has sent out an invitation about a talk. Okay. I would like to invite parents to register for this talk. This talk is about nurturing kindness in our children through stressful situation. This is a complimentary talk that we have put Singapore Kindness Movement to provide for Set 1 parents and supporting parents to walk through the new journey with your kids. So please give us a support. And this is a way of motivation to motivate us to bring in more talks for the parents. So I will end here. Thank you and Happy New Year, parents. Back to you, the host.
Thank you, Mr. To. Next up, we have Miss Yana, who is our assistant year head, as well as the level head for our Secondary 1 team, to talk to you more about our level programs for our Secondary 1 students. Miss Yana, please.
Hey, hi, good morning, everyone. Just give me a minute, I will. All right, good morning to all Sec 1 parents. I'm Noliana and the level head for Sec 1. After the 4 days of orientation program, we do hope your child has managed to discover their new strengths and talents. And most importantly, we hope the interaction they have with their peers and teachers has helped them to manage with their transition to secondary school life, at least for the last 4 days. Let me introduce to you the team that will be working very closely with your child and providing all the support he or she needs for a smooth transition to secondary school. Together with our Sec 1 level coordinator, Ms. Clarice Teo, we will be planning and carrying out programs that will support your child's learning in JSS. And also introducing other important team members. Okay, here are the Sec 1 form teachers and the class mentors. During the form teacher breakout session later, you will have the opportunity to interact with them. Your support and partnership is important to us. With your trust and understanding, our teachers are able to carry out their roles more easily. One of the ways we communicate with parents is by sending information via Parent Gateway. So do remember to download the app so that you'll be able to receive important notification from the school in time. Sharing with you also, here is the school term and vacation periods for 2022. In order for your child not to miss any curriculum time, do note the vacation period so that you'll be able to do some forward planning. Also note that some lessons and some CCA sessions may continue during our school vacation period. As for curriculum structure, for 2022, do note the start time. We encourage our students to report 15 minutes earlier at the start of each day. For students being offered higher Malay language and higher Chinese language, parents please take note of the days and also the time of dismissal. Our snack break time is between 9:50 to 10 o'clock. To ensure your child bring along snacks, this will be very helpful, especially if their recess timing is quite late or after 12 p.m. So recess timing for Fridays will be different as the day end earlier. To support our students in their academic learning, our school has after-school academic program. In short, we call it ASAP. This will start in term 2 for our Sec 1s on a needs basis. Enrichment program for Sec 1s will be either on Monday or Thursday between 3 to 6 p.m. Parents will receive notification if there's any enrichment program planned during those days. Here are also some reminders if you are driving. Be patient and considerate of other road users, and do help us alight your child at the designated drop-off area very quickly so that we will not cause any other cars to hold up other cars behind. Parents, if you're also doing a U-turn, please help us by proceeding to the designated junction between Yuan Ching Road and Johor Road. Okay, moving on, let's focus more on our Sec 1 students. As our Sec 1 students are learning to adapt to this new environment and building new friendships in a new class, let's continue to encourage them through this transition period. It might not be easy for some of them. It will take time for them to cope with a more demanding stage of their life compared to primary school. They will have more subjects, they will have greater involvement in CCAs, and they will spend longer hours in school. Okay, how they manage this transition depends on the level of support we give them, okay, both teachers and parents. So do continue to support us by creating a caring home environment for your child in order to nurture their social and emotional skills. Have frequent chats with them. Affirm their efforts and always remind them of their strengths and talents. Familiarize yourself with the secondary school life so that you'll be able to know what is it like for your child to be in secondary school. Continue to encourage them. Empathize by acknowledging their emotions. So if they come back, if they feel that very anxious and nervous, do help us to talk to them and advise them accordingly. Your child would have received this handout from us, so please take a look at it. And I'm sure many of you will be familiar with MSF parenting program, signpost from primary school. So moving on to secondary school, there's this triple P. Okay, it's an evidence-based program that equips parents with technique to promote their children's psychological, social, as well as emotional competence. Triple P is built on tiered system that provide different degree of parental support. For Sec 1 parents, support is given to help your children make a smooth transition to secondary school. Tai Hua Kwan, THK service is the appointed service provider by MSF to help run parenting program. There are a series of seminars that THK has arranged for parents. So more information on the sign up will go out on Parents Gateway by next Monday. Last but not least, we would like you to come on board and work very closely with us so that together we can nurture our students to be responsible and independent learners. The next session that you'll be meeting the form teachers will be during Parent-Teacher Conference, which will happen on 27th of May and 28th of October. However, at any time you have any queries, do not hesitate to email us at this address. With that, I will end my segment. Thank you, and we'll see you later at the breakout session. Over to you, Darius.
Thank you, Ms. Yana. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you've had a great time with your form teachers. Right now, we are moving on to the second part of our CCA Display Day. And that will be actually the Q&A session. So as you can see on your screen right now, there is actually a QR code that you can scan and write in your questions, and we will address them during the Q&A segments, But at the same time, any questions that we do not get to, that we are unable to answer because of time, we will actually be posting the answers on our school website. So worry not, Do ask the questions that you need to ask, So that you can make an informed decision, for experiential week, which the registration, will actually be opening at 12 noon today. All right. So without further ado, right, first up, we have our HOD of CCA, Mr. Noor, who will be giving a speech about the CCA program. Mr. Noor, please.
Hi, good morning, parents. My name is Mr. Noor. I'm the head of department for PE and CCA. I'm here today to share with you with regards to CCA in secondary school. Let me share with you my slides. Overview of the CCA program for today. The objective of the briefing is actually to go through with you the importance of CCA as a platform for character development, go through with you the grading of CCA, the CCAs offered in JSS, and also the important notes on choosing of CCA for your child. CCA is a very important platform for character development. It builds character, team spirit, sense of responsibility. It promotes social integration and inculcates values, skills, and competency for life by offering broad-based opportunities for all. And if we recall our time when we were in school, in secondary school, I'm very sure we have fond memories of our CCA and how, to a certain extent, it has developed to who we are now. In JSS, we leverage our CCAs to inculcate school values of loyalty, industry, sincerity, and love. We strengthen character, encourage students to strive for excellence, and to also develop leadership potential. An important note, at secondary school level, CCA is compulsory. It is graded, and students have to participate in one main CCA. And in JSS, if the attendance per semester is lesser than 75%, the student will be given a fare for conduct grade for that semester. Do note, conduct grade does affect the students' potential in terms of getting a scholarship or bursary at the end of the year. Training frequency for each CCA differs. It differs from 2 to 3 times a week and also 2 to 3 hours per session. Do note that the training frequency also differs along the way in the year. For example, during a peak time of, let's say, the students is preparing for competition or performance, the frequency may go up. The hours per session may also go up. But then during post-season, okay, the frequency may go down and the number of hours also may go down. Do note, CCA is suspended during the period of exams. CCA grading meets 2.0 scoring system. There are 5 main areas that contribute to the CCA grades. I'll be focusing only on 4: leadership, achievement, participation, and service. Reason being, enrichment domain does not apply as it complements the other domains of students' holistic development. These domains and achievement will be recognized in the school graduation certificate. Let me go through with you the first domain, leadership. It affirms students' development as a leader. Development through leadership modules, National Youth Achievements Award, and leadership position will attribute to the different levels that is given. Example, a student who has completed 2 modules on leadership will be given level 1. The higher the level, the better. A student who achieved National Youth Achievement Award, bronze, will be given level 2 and silver level 3. And on top of that, and the most important one, if you ask me, is the student leadership development within the CCA. For example, a student who is a captain in the sports CCA obviously will be given the highest level. A student who is a chairman, okay, in the performing arts or the clubs and society will be given the highest level. Next domain is achievement. It affirms students' efforts in school, external organizations, in events and competition. It recognizes students' diverse interests and talents beyond school. At the lowest level of 1 is when the student represent their class, their house, or their CCA in intra-school competition. Intra-school refers to within the school, within Jurong Secondary School. To achieve higher, the students have to represent school or participate in events or competition by MOE and external organization. For a student to achieve the highest level of 5, they have to represent Singapore or MOE, okay, in Singapore Schools Competition or National Project of Excellence, or UGHQ in international competitions. Next domain is participation. It affirms students' sustained involvement in school-based CCA throughout secondary school education, in either sports games, performing arts, uniform groups, and clubs and societies. A regular participation of students in their CCA, the student will get a level 4 or 5. Okay, continuous involvement in the same CCA for 4 or 5 years, the student will get the highest level. And the exemplary conduct and active contribution in CCA with at least 3 years of participation also help them to get the highest level. The last domain is service. It affirms students' contribution to the community as responsible and active citizens. Through the JSS Values in Action program, the highest level attained in the combination of the number of hours of service and involvement in VIA projects will help them to attain level 1 to level 4. If the students want to get a level 5, the student-initiated VIA project that make an impact to the community beyond the school has to be carried out by them. Recognition of students' CCA attainment. The students will be given excellent, good, or fair grading at the end of the 4 or 5 years. For a student to get excellent, they have to attain minimum of level 3 in all the 4 domains with at least level 4 in 1 domain. Subsequently, okay, if for a student to get good, they have to attain a minimum of level 1 in all 4 domains with at least 3 of the combination mentioned. Student will get a fair if he has not met or he has not met the minimum criteria for a good co-curricular attainment. Subsequently, a student will get excellent will be given 2 points, good 1 point, fair 0 point. This CCA grading can be used for entry into post-secondary institution. If a student wants to go to junior college, the CCA grade excellent will help them to get 2 bonus points, and a good will help them to get 1 bonus point. For polytechnic or IT courses, CCA points can be used to compete for places. Here is an example of 2 students from the same CCA, but one student is active, the other student is non-active. Let me go through the non-active. If let's say a student is not active, likelihood the rank of the students will not be high. Let's say this is an NCC boy. So the rank will be a lance corporal compared to an active student who will get a sergeant. That itself, the level of given is already different. And non-active students, likelihood will not be representing in any competition and will not be accomplishing anything. So they'll be level 0. An active student most likely will be representing the school in competition and will get accomplishment like, for example, unit overall proficiency award of silver and gold. And if you look at the non-active participation, this is a student who actually only been active for 3 years, means one or two of the years he is not active in the CCA. So that's why he get level 3. Whereas a student who is active all the way, okay, from 4 to 5 years will be given, and with exemplary conduct and active contribution will be given a maximum of level 5. And lastly, service, 24 hours. Okay, for a non-active, you get only a level 1. Whereas an active student who's actively serving the community, participate in student initiative project and all this will get a maximum of level 5. From here is an example, a non-active student from here with level achievement of 0 for achievement will get a CCA grade fair compared to the active students who will get an excellent. Here are the CCAs offered in Jurong Secondary School. It can be grouped into 4 main groups. There is the physical sport, visual, performing arts, uniform group, clubs, and societies. Let's go to the first one, physical sports. We offer 6 sports. They are basketball, boys and girls, volleyball, girls only, cross country, boys and girls, badminton, boys only, dragon boat, boys and girls, and floorball, boys only. For the CCA, basketball, volleyball, cross country, and badminton, the selection trial have been completed by the time the CCA display is on. I'm very sure some of you, your child have been selected for these 4 sports. Whereas dragon boat and floorball is still open for application from the students. Next group is the visual and performing arts. Okay, basically its objectives is instill in students a sense of graciousness and appreciation for the rich culture and heritage of the multiracial society. We offer 5 performing arts CCA: Chinese orchestra, choir, English drama, modern dance, and concert band. Next main group is the uniform groups. It aims to make good citizens of students by inculcating in them self-reliance, resilience, discipline, and a spirit of service to others. The 5s are Girl Guide, girls only, NCC, boys only, MPCC, Red Cross, and Scouts for boys only. And last but not least is the clubs and societies. It gives opportunity for them to explore and extend their interest in wide-ranging and specialized areas, which may be knowledge-based or skill-based. It hones the information and communication and technical skill as they strive to grow their mastery of the specialized areas. We offer 3 clubs and societies. They are Environment Club, Science Explorers, Media and Visual Arts Club. Important notes on choosing of CCA. Please help your child to choose the right CCA. This is the flow of what they are supposed to do for the next few weeks. Today is the CCA Display Day. On the 17th of January, we will start the CCA Experiential Week for them to have a trial of the CCA. Following the 2 weeks, they are to submit the CCA option form. And lastly, on the 11th of February, we will be offering the CCA allocation exercise to them. Basically, for CCA Display Day today is for you to have a chance to have virtual experience. Later after my talk, we will be showcasing some of the CCA, firstly through the video montage, okay? And secondly, the question and answer session whereby you can see the teacher, the main teacher in charge of the CCA live. Subsequently, starting from the 17th of January, the students will be given a chance to experience the actual CCA session. They can choose at least 2 sessions. Okay, so they can choose more if, let's say, times permit for them. Again, the timeline. Today is the CCA Display Day. 17 to 28 is the experiential week. 3rd of February is the submission of the CCA option form. The following week on the 11th Feb is the CCA allocation. how do I find more information about the CCA? Firstly, you can scroll through the school website to look for the CCAs that you are keen on. You can read more information about the CCA itself. Secondly, this is meant for the students, obviously, CCA notice board around the school. So the students can walk around during their recess time or after school to look at the CCA notice board and read more about the CCA. Next, they can find out more about the CCA from the teachers. Okay, and next one is from the seniors. Seniors refer to the students who are in the Sec 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the school. Or even if, let's say, they have siblings, elder siblings that they can find, if they want to find out more about the CCA, please, they can find out more from them. And last, and if you ask me, the most practical part of the experience itself is the experiential CCA week. This gives them the opportunity, firstly, firsthand, to actually get involved in the CCA. Okay, see what their daily routine, okay, for every time when you go for CCA. Have a live interaction with the teachers in charge of that particular CCA, and also a live interaction with the seniors of that particular CCA. The good thing, the experiential CCA week is open for them to choose any CCA for them to try out. It will be open for 2 weeks. Okay, we have already explained to the students on how they can book the experiential week via the class the past 1 week. Key info on the experiential week. As mentioned, 7 to 28 January. Registration starts immediately after our CCA display from 12 noon today and ends on 12 January 12 noon. Students selected for basketball, volleyball, badminton, cross country need not attend because basically these 4 CCA, we have already firmed up the students. At the end of the experiential week, the students are to fill up the CCA option form, whereby in the CCA option form will be stated the types of CCA available and order of the choices. We will require the student to fill up all the 4 choices. And the date of submission to the form teachers is by the 3rd of February. We will try our best to give the students their top 2 choices. We will try our best. But do take note that choices are limited to, for example, the limitation of the CCA. I give you an example. For some CCA, they can't take more than 15. For some CCA, they can't take more than 10. Okay, due to facilities available, due to the instructor or the coaches that is made available for them. So I hope you understand that as much as we try to give their first or second choice, sometimes inevitably we have to give some students to their 3rd or 4th choice. Again, a reminder, the schedule, okay? I've already done the briefing with the students this past 1 week. Today is the CCA briefing for the parents. Submit interest the CCA experiential week and the CCA experiential week itself, and the 3rd Feb submit CCA option form, and 11th Feb allocation and start of CCA. Basically, these are the contact email, okay, myself, okay, Nur Karnain bin Hussein, and Miss Ong, the subject head for PE and CCA. You can email us. You can find our email even in the school website, or you can contact the school, okay, and leave a message for us. With that, I would like to thank you, okay, and please stay on because the next part will be the showcase of all the CCAs that we are being offered in Jurong Secondary School. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Noor, for that sharing. Right, before we head over to our Q&A session, I have a wonderful session that I think you'll be very interested in. We have with us today two students who are going to share with you about their experiences in their own CCAs. And I'm sure that will give you some insight into what it's like to be in a CCA in Jurong Secondary School. So let me welcome Shakti from 3-4 as well as Yixuan from 4-2 to tell you a little bit more about their CCA experiences.
Hi everyone. My name is Shakti Sivagugan and I'm from the English Drama Club.
I'm Lim Yishuan from the National Police Cadet Corps.
So, Yishan, since it's CCA Display Day, would you like to tell us why you joined National Police Cadet Corps?
My choices were actually greatly influenced by my aunt. She has two sons who are serving in the army right now. And I was like a son to her. So she also wanted me to be in a uniform group. And second of all, I was very into guns, those ARs, those pistols, well, boys, you know. And third of all, I am obsessed with Sherlock Holmes.
Interesting.
So criminology is like a thing to me. And I heard that in MPCC, you can actually have a glimpse of what police investigation, crime scene investigation is. So you actually get to understand what police actually do. How about you, Shakti?
I wasn't sure where I wanted to go when I came to JSS. My mom had the idea of Red Cross because my older sister was in Red Cross and I had to follow her example, obviously. And I didn't really want that. So I was looking around. And then I came for the EDC experiential week. And the only way I can describe it is you put a bunch of friends in a room and you made them do a passion project. It was great. I loved it a lot. And I decided that I wanted to be a part of that. So could you tell us what you learned in MPCC over the years?
Oh, I've learned numerous things, especially values too. One of the values that I believe is responsibility. Well, in MPCC, you will have many projects that you have to undertake. There's no shirking of responsibility. So these projects are usually for you to attain a badge or can be simply planning for a money event, can be the CCA the next day. And it is actually through these projects and sessions that actually inculcate a sense of responsibility in you. And we also actually acknowledge the fact that responsibility is a very pivotal value in a student's life, especially for secondary ones that just entered secondary school, right? And because your life will be a bit messy, and so you have to have responsibility to actually organize your life, accomplish your tasks, and maybe also work towards your goal. And another thing is, during sessions, especially for secondary threes, you will have to speak and teach your cadets knots and drills. And so the thing is, not just the cadets' eyes are fixated on you. The instructors, the officers, the teachers will be inspecting on how you actually teach, how you actually present. So yes, it will be a little stressful for like shy students. But the thing is, this is a golden opportunity to actually exude your confidence, to actually train your confidence, and to be dependent on yourself, and actually be poised throughout pressurizing times, right? And also, another value that I will have to emphasize is resilience, right? There will be training sessions that will be tiring. There will be drill sessions that are not just physically tiring, mentally tiring too. But as the saying goes, as the going gets tough, you get tougher too, right? And it is actually through these sessions that actually make you become a soldier that braves through hardships and goes through up and down. And I tell you, when I was a secondary one student, I was a bit a little naughty and a bit cheeky, but thankfully through this CCA, the instructors, the officers, the teachers actually scrutinize you and actually pick up the parts of you that lack discipline, and actually give you the appropriate command, a bit of treatment to you to actually correct your attitude. And this really made me more disciplined, I guess. So I can safely say that UG is a character development CCA, and I'd like to thank my MPCC for who I am today. How about you, Shakti?
The EDC is a place that pushes you creatively a lot. Before I joined the EDC, I wasn't a very creative person. The most creative thing I'd ever done was like drawing something I found on the internet. But the EDC is a place where like sometimes the instructor is just says, okay, get into a group, write a script, and then no elaboration, you just write a script. Doesn't even need to be a competition coming up. And it also makes you like experiment with concepts you wouldn't have thought of by yourself. So it teaches you a lot to like think more broadly about it, and definitely will help me in problem solving, because not every problem is a binary of 1 or 0. Like a solution might need a little bit of thinking over. It's also taught me a lot about impromptu speaking. So in EDC, you do a lot of improv, which is basically you get 2 or more actors onto a stage, and you're given like a kind of vague explanation of what you're doing, and then you just go, no other explanation, and you learn how to fire back and make up things on the fly. And it definitely helps me in interviews, and it probably will help me more in future interviews as well, because you're not going to know what they're going to ask you, so it will probably help me get a job. Yeah. So what's the most memorable experience of MPCC you've had?
I believe in secondary 3, where I went to the Choa Chu Kang Home Team Academy to do range shooting. I remember it was actually for a badge, the shooting badge. And I remember that time when I stepped into the range, I had some mixed feelings, more of excitement and anxiety. Why excitement was because, as I mentioned earlier on, I was very into guns. And it was my first time, the very first time I got to touch a legitimate gun, right? And the thing is, why anxiety? Because it is a lethal weapon, right? Anything wrong, it might lead to fatal results. And, yeah. And but thing is, it's not just shooting that made it memorable. It was actually the lessons learned, right? It helped me to control my emotions, keeping me calm and composed throughout pressurizing times. And as we all know, in 18, I'll be serving in the national service, right? And with this experience, I'll be much more confident and well prepared cadet in the unit, and I will be a much braver, a much confident protector of this homeland. Oh, what's yours?
Last year in January, we had to create a Chinese New Year video for the Chinese New Year celebration in February. So what we decided to do, we wrote a script about like what you should not be doing in Chinese New Year, the whole taboo thing about it, like, and we were shooting the whole video for like 4 hours, split it into 2 days, and I was there for like one of those days. And I think one of the reasons why it's so memorable is because I felt like we were going to be teaching other races about Chinese culture and helping them broaden their knowledge of it. And that would definitely help in the racial harmony aspect of Singapore, which is one of the reasons why Singapore is so well known. It's because of our racial harmony. And I think it would be very beneficial in the long run. So what would you like to tell any Sec 1s that may be watching right now?
Well, no matter what CCA you're posted in, it will be beneficial for you. And keep in mind, make the most out of it.
I'd like to say enjoy secondary school life. Choose your preferred CCA. You don't want to regret what you did in secondary school, because you only get one shot at it. So have a lot of fun.
Well, I guess this is all the time we have.
Right. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you so much, Shakti and Ishan. And I hope that has been an enlightening session for all of you to learn a little bit about what our students go through during their CCA experiences. Now, next up, we have a video that's going to tell you a little bit more about our uniform group CCA.
Just put everything in the oven, Carla.
The National Cadet Corps, like any other uniform group in Singapore, places heavy emphasis on the idea of discipline, which is something I did not expect when I was just a playful secondary 1 boy like you. Back then, all I thought NCC was about was its live firing and precision drill squad. However, that was simply not the case. My batchmates and I have been put through many hardships and challenges, and together we have learned the idea of camaraderie as well as resilience, as we encouraged each other to push through all these different challenges together. I do hope that you will get to experience these like I did.
I had a friend who was in NPCC who told me it was very fun and interesting. So, I made a decision to appeal out of my original CCA to join NPCC. I enjoy spending quality time with my schoolmates and campcraft training because I really enjoy campcraft. Another thing I enjoy most are the area camps out, such as the adventure training camp for secondary 2 cadets. I learned to see things in a more positive light when facing difficulties, and it was also because of these challenging situations that I developed more physical and mental resilience.
I enjoy attending the courses in NPCC. One such course is the Crime Scene Investigation course. In this course, we learned how to study a crime scene to identify the culprit. During drills competition trainings, we needed to learn new commands and perfect it individually. This pushed me out of my comfort zone and helped me to become a better cadet.
Connect with nature, serve the community, and most importantly, have fun with your patrol mates.
Was that we could do arts and crafts during our CCA sessions, and there were annual night camps for us to attend.
Learning is about learning essential life skills such as personal goal setting, decision making, and team building in a safe and supportive environment.
As a leader in Girl Guides, I learned to take responsibility in disciplining and helping my company. I also learned to communicate and take lead of a large group of people.
Cross because I wanted to be a certified first aider to help people in times of crisis and also to contribute to the society.
The first aid skills instilled in these cadets are necessary in our lives.
Red Cross has taught me the values of discipline, leadership and teamwork. Red Cross has provided me many opportunities to work with cadets from other schools to better ourselves.
There are many workshops that can actually improve your presentation skills, such as being more confident, and also lifelong skills, which can actually benefit you, such as first aid.
Something I enjoy in Red Cross would be striving for the same goal together with my batchmates, supporting and encouraging each other when we meet with obstacles, and succeeding together as a batch.
I learned how to endure in both situations, physically and mentally. I think that endurance is key, especially when things are tough, so that we would not give up easily in the future.
Hey, I hope that video has let you know a little bit more about our uniform groups and what they do during their CCA sessions. Now it's time for the Q&A session with our uniform group teachers in charge. So with me today, we have Miss Wani, who is in charge of the National Cadet Corps. We have Mrs. Yap, who is in charge of the National Police Cadet Corps. We have Miss Roxanne, who is in charge of our Red Cross Youth. We have Mr. Ng, who is in charge of Scouts. And we have Miss Suta from Girl Guides. So first up, we have some questions for the NCC. So Miss Wani, what are the additional experiences that students will be able to gain through their participation in NCC?
Hello everyone, good morning. Okay, so aside from the normal training in school and also the mandatory HQ trainings, our NCC HQ has also additional programs for cadets to volunteer for. For example, is the ICEP program. Basically, it is a cadet exchange program whereby we will be working with our counterparts in United Kingdom, Brunei, and also India. So basically, a few of our cadets who have already participated in it, they actually shared that they have gained a lot of insights and also experiences because they are the ambassadors to the school and also to Singapore itself, and they have learned a lot of valuable experience to further improve as an individual and also leader.
Thank you. And you mentioned some training. So what kind of training will cadets undergo in NCC?
So basically in school, we will align our training to the NCC mission, which is to nurture inspiring leaders and also committed citizens. So when we plan trainings, we will keep in mind the mission itself, and also we will inculcate certain values, for example, loyalty, resilience, and also commitment to the core. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wani. So next up, we have questions for the NPCC. So Mrs. Yap, would the students actually get priority to enter the police force if they join NPCC?
Good morning. So no, they will not be given priorities, but they will gain insights into how the police force works through the activities in NPCC.
Right. And so what kind of activities do you have in NPCC actually?
We have a variety of activities such as the Police Youth Ambassador, Survival Training Camp, Adventure Training Camp, and overseas trip to Brunei and Hong Kong police units. So in these activities, the students will learn how to be an active citizen and community leader. They will learn leadership skills, morals, ethics, as well as seek to excel and become more resilient. So like, for example, in their Pulau Ubin camp, they will get to try activities like kayaking and flying fox, where they will step out of the comfort zone to bond with their friends and to build confidence together.
Hey, thank you, Mrs. Yap. So next up, we have our Red Cross. So Ms. Roxanne, will Red Cross cadets be first aid certified?
Hello, good morning, everyone. Yes, our incoming 7 cadets will be
taking the basic first aid and AED course that is taught by the instructors from the Singapore Red Cross Academy. In addition, after that they move on to secondary 3, they will be moving on towards to take the standard first aid course plus the AED. These are actually very essential life-saving skills.
I see. And apart from first aid, what are the different areas that Red Cross cadets will be trained in?
Apart from first aid, actually, they are also learning other different modules like disaster management, youth leadership, service learning, food drill, etc. So these different modules actually enables our cadets to be actually develop their leadership, teamwork, and they also learn how to be responsible and flexible. So this in turn will actually develop them into better citizens and better individuals in future.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Roxanne. So next up, we have questions for Scouts. So Mr. Ng, what is Scouting about and what can my child learn?
Okay, thank you for the questions. Scouting is actually a form of character education involving experiential learning based in the outdoors and nature. So there are certain core Scouting activities that we do, for example, camping, pioneering, and we also have the fun activities such as outdoor cooking, volunteering, hiking, and we also do the job week as well. So through these practical programs, the Scouts actually learn important life skills and important outdoor survival skills, which will be very useful to them in national service in the future. And most importantly, the patrol system that we have in Scouts will allow them to also learn critical thinking skills and teamwork as well. Yeah.
Right, that sounds really interesting. But what are the guiding principles behind Scouting?
So we are actually guided by the Scout Promise and Scout Law. So we want our Scouts to all be developed as individuals who can be trusted, who are loyal, and also to have that resilient mindset and also the heart to also contribute to the community as well.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Ng. So next up, we have questions for the Girl Guides. So why should my child join Girl Guides?
Hello, everyone. So for Girl Guides, we are guided by the 5-point program, which is a very unique system for Girl Guides. What happens is that the girls undergo activities that revolve around the 5 different domains, which are social and personal development, community, outdoor, home, and international. By experiencing activities revolving around these domains, we hope that the girls will develop self-confidence as well as realize their true leadership potential at the end of the program.
I see. So what kind of activities do the guides actually participate in?
So the guides participate in a variety of activities. We have outdoor cooking, gadget making, craft work, and also song sessions. Through the outdoor cooking sessions, not only do they learn how to cook in the outdoors, but they would develop their own campsite. This will include tent pitching as well as creating shoe racks and towel racks, which are all essential life skills. And as they work with their patrols, their teammates, we hope that they would become team players and in the process also learn to persevere and be determined to face any challenges that they might face in the future.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sudha. So once again, we've come to the end of the Q&A session for our uniform groups. So once again, we had Ms. Wani from the NCC, Mrs. Yap from the NPCC, Ms. Roxanne from Red Cross Youth, Mr. Ng from Scouts, and Ms. Sudha from the Girl Guides. All right, right now we're going to show you a video about our performing arts groups. Take it away, please.
Being in Chinese orchestra is very interesting, and this is what I am passionate about.
I didn't have any musical backgrounds, but I still managed to excel in performances. We also host student-initiated AIA, which nurtures us to be confident leaders and gives us the opportunity to contribute to society.
We start off the practice by asking each other, how are you? The best way to make ourselves feel better is by sharing our thoughts.
I also really enjoy
our warm-up games that we play before starting trial every week. These warm-up games are really unique and fun, and I think it's a great way to warm up your throats before singing.
Ben has instilled a passion for music in me. His passion has also allowed me to make many friends of the same interests and passions from this school and other schools as well.
Ben has allowed me to participate in various activities such as leadership programs and exchange programs. Overall, I did not regret joining Ben, and I hope to see you.
I joined EDC because of how welcoming and cheerful it is. I love that EDC has supportive seniors. In EDC, I learned how to work better with people and become a better leader.
I have learned to be more disciplined.
I joined dance as I wanted to try out something different. The first impression that I had was they gave out good vibes and they were quite energetic.
Through dance, I'm physically and emotionally stronger. I have built my stamina and I'm more resilient.
All right, I hope that video has let you know a little bit more about our performing arts groups. So right now we're going to have the Q&A session for our performing arts teachers in charge. So with me here today, we have Mr. Koo from Chinese Orchestra. We have Mrs. Joseph from Modern Dance. We have Miss Kalai from Choir. And we have Miss Teo from Band. And of course, I'm here, Mr. Darius, from the English Drama Club. All right, so the first questions are for Chinese Orchestra. So Mr. Koo, do students need musical background in order to join CO?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Actually, many people has this misconception that, you need a music background in order to join Chinese orchestra. Actually, it is not. Actually, we prefer, students with no background at all, because we actually engage professional instructors from Singapore Chinese Orchestra, SCO in short, to come in every week to actually teach our students the basic skills, right from the basics to perfecting a song. Yeah, so also to add on to that, actually, as long as the students they are passionate about music, we welcome them. And in fact, it doesn't just limit to a particular race. We open to all students. Yeah.
I see. And do students get to choose the instruments that they like?
Well, when they first join our orchestra, we actually ask them to write down, their preferred choice of instruments. And of course, we would like to give them their choice, okay, their first choice. But having said that, we also need to consider the whole, the balance of the whole orchestra. So if that's say the case whereby the students, they are not given their first choice, we will actually we would like to encourage them to try to pick up the new instrument and to persevere on. But let's say after some time they still find difficulty, then we will change the instrument for them.
I see. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Koo.
You're welcome.
Our next questions are actually for Mrs. Joseph from Modern Dance. So will students only learn a certain kind of dance?
No, actually not. They will be going through a lot of different genres. For the past few years, we have adopted this modular style of learning CCA. So what happens is that over the terms, they actually go through a lot of different genres of dance. So by the time they leave the school 4 or 5 years later, they will be exposed to many different forms of dance.
And this is especially useful when they in future want to specialize in a different form of dance. This knowledge will be very handy for them.
I see. And what are some of the performance opportunities that dancers will get?
Okay, dancers never lack performance opportunities at all. They have a lot of opportunities. Even during COVID times, we were able to put out a lot of performances in recorded forms. So that is really challenging for the kids, but it teaches them to be resilient and they also become more creative. Apart from that, last year, during COVID, we were able to perform for SYF. With very strict measures in place, we were able to bring our kids out to actually perform on stage. So that was a very great experience. And we took the opportunity and we actually made sure that all our kids had an opportunity to perform. So no kid was left behind. All our dancers were there performing for SYF. Apart from that, we also work very closely. We have a very good collaboration with Jurong CC. So we do put performances out there for them as well, at least 2 performances a year. And school needless to say, because we have so many occasions where we are able to perform.
Thank you, Mrs. Joseph. So next up, our questions are actually for choir. So Ms. Kalai, do students need to do an audition to get into choir?
Okay, up front, I would say no, they do not need to do an audition. However, once they are selected in choir, we will do an audition to ascertain whether they belong to the soprano, alto section for the girls, or tenor bass section for the boys. So just to make sure they are singing the range that is comfortable for them.
I see. And what benefits would my child actually gain from joining choir?
Okay, there are a myriad of reasons why you should join choir, because one of them is they will be trained by a professional instructor to learn how to sing, project their voice, and have proper breathing techniques. So these are skills that are lifelong and they can take them on to the next stage when they go on to tertiary education, for example, and they want to continue. Many of the tertiary organizations provide CCAs like choir. So they will have an opportunity to further build up their talent. Also, when they become adults, it will be a hobby for them to carry on singing, and they don't even have to pay to buy an instrument. It's a voice that they have been born with. So it's an excellent skill to develop.
I see. Thank you, Ms. Kalai. All right, next, our questions are actually for our band. So, Ms. Teo, are there any string instruments like violin or cello?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sad to say, band do not have string instruments. However, if your child is actually interested in learning the string instruments, I can actually get you to speak to the teacher in charge of Chinese orchestra, who actually has string instruments in the CCA itself. Yeah.
I see. So how are students actually selected for the instrument that they play?
So likewise, we do get students to actually let us know what are some of the instruments that they're actually interested in. At the same time, we also will check with students what are some of their musical backgrounds as well, just to make sure that they are comfortable if, let's say, they have any of those prior knowledge that they have in primary school. If they don't have, doesn't matter, we can actually try to get them to fit into a certain type of instruments. Thereafter, we have instructors who are very experienced, so actually coach them and guide them and teach them to pick up the skills along the way.
I see. Thank you so much, Ms. Teo.
Thank you.
All right, now let's see what questions we have for English drama. So the first question is, how will EDC benefit students who join it? Well, for our program, we actually focus on 2 main skill sets, and one of them is actually public speaking. So of course, as actors, our students will actually have to do a lot of public speaking on stage, as well as to an audience. And so this is something that we help to develop in them as they perform in different performances, school performances, as well as competitions and outside performances as well. And this actually helps to build their confidence in speaking to a general public, right? And of course, the other thing that we actually pride ourselves in is that we want to develop our students' creativity. So one of our key programs is that we actually get them to devise and write their own scripts, right? And this allows them to exercise their creativity in developing their own plays and performances throughout their time in EDC. All right. And the next question is, what kinds of drama does English drama do? Well, so as I mentioned earlier, our main focus is on devised theatre, and that allows our students to actually take the stories that they have, right, that they have experienced before, and bring them on stage, right, and tell their own stories. And that is the key idea behind devised theatre, so that our students have a voice that they can share with the rest of their audiences, right? And through that, we also allow them to explore different theatrical genre. Sometimes we do puppetry, sometimes we do straight acting, right? And beyond that, we also do a little bit of applied theatre. We bring our theatrical skills to our community through social outreach, right? We do our VIA activities, and our VIA activities are always aligned with drama and how it can benefit society. So those are the general forms of theatre that we actually go through during our time in EDC. All right, now it's time to end this Q&A segment. So once again with me, we have Mr. Koo from Chinese Orchestra, we have Mrs. Joseph from Dance, we have Miss Carly from Choir, we have Miss Teo from Band, and we have myself, Mr. Darius from English Drama Club. All right, right now we're going to show you a video about our clubs and societies. Take it away, please.
I was in a robotics CCA in primary school, and I had a great interest in science. So when I heard about JSS Science Explorers, I was ecstatic that I could join a CCA that combined both.
I chose to join Explorers as it is a fulfilling and exciting club where researching is involved, and I really into science, and researching is very interesting.
One of the things which I enjoy most is the hands-on experiments.
I enjoy flying drones, coding.
Bonding and interaction time with my CCA mates is what I enjoy most, and the robotics part.
I took part in FLL, and one thing which I learned is that to solve a problem, you must look at it from different perspectives.
Through this competition, I learned that being a team player is very important. I also joined the HCI program, which we collaborated with Hwa Chong Institution. We went to Science Center to do research, and it is quite hard, but through perseverance, we did it.
I joined the Engineering Innovation Challenge, which was during the COVID-19 period. We had difficulties coming together to discuss our project, but through persevering and working together, we managed to get shortlisted as a finalist.
It taught me the importance of teamwork, spreading workload between members.
In Science Explorers, there are many opportunities to join competitions and projects,
Build confidence, learn some interesting science knowledge.
as well as to further develop our leadership skills.
Why did you choose to join Environment Club?
I chose to join Environment Club as I would like to know what's going on with our Earth and what are the solutions to stop or prevent it. It allows me and others to know more about our natural surroundings.
What do you enjoy most about Environment Club?
The thing that I enjoy most about Environment Club is that every day there's something new that I can learn and experience from this CCA. An example would be The learning journey to Pulau Ubin and being a tour guide at Jurong Lake Garden for the residents when it was newly opened, where I got to learn about different types of animals and plants. Also, Environment Club has allowed me to learn teamwork, as most of its assignments and competitions would need me to work together with my groupmates.
What have you learned by being a team member of Environment Club?
As a member of the CCA, I'm also able to see the world through the eyes of a green ambassador who is able to make a positive impact on the environment.
How has Environment Club developed you as a student?
Being the Vice President of Environment Club has given me opportunities to lead and work with fellow CCA members on many projects.
Thank you for watching this video. Come join us! We are the Media and Visual Arts Club, otherwise known as MVAC. Our club is about capturing moments and providing AV support. In MVAC, we do 4 main things. First being photography, where we capture the memories from events as keepsake. In videography, we learn about what it takes to film key moments in the school and tell a story through videos. Then we have backstage, where our students are always behind the scenes ensuring that events run smoothly. Lastly, we have animation, where we learn about story creation and make those stories come to life. For animation, we take part in Animation, a nationwide competition that occurs every year, and we will always have teams that will be able to participate in it. Let's hear what some members of the club would like to say.
I chose to join MVAC because I was interested in photography and videography.
I chose to join MVAC because I really enjoy taking photos and videos. I enjoy animation because we can use our imagination to create stories and animate them.
The photography part, because I got to learn different angles and apply it outside school.
I enjoyed animation the most, as I love to draw storyboards. I've grown the most in terms of photography, as I've learned many photography skills from different competitions and photography workshops.
I feel that I can make better digital posters and images, as there are many events like Make the Change poster design, and I feel that I can make better digital works.
We hope this video informs you on what our CCA is about and encourages you to join our club. See you soon!
Hey, thank you so much for keeping on with us, right? So I hope that video has given you a little bit of insight into our clubs and societies, right? And right now we have our Q&A session with our teachers in charge of the clubs. So first up, we have Ms. Ong from the Media and Visual Arts Club. We have Mr. Vincent from the Science Explorers. And we have Mr. Kanagara from the Environment Club. All right, so our first questions are actually for our MVAC. So are there opportunities for competitions in this CCA, Ms. Ong?
Hi, definitely there are many opportunities. In fact, every year we have very high enrollment rate because of the number of competitions that we offer, and the number of competitions that we have currently for our students are about 5 per year. I mean, we don't want to overload them, so this is a very good number. And these competitions include the digital art competitions, photography, and lastly, our biggest major competition that will be the Animation competition, which currently our students have gotten to top 10 nationally, and we're very proud of them, and hopefully they will go on to progress further. So that these are what we can offer our students, and we also encourage our students to form their own film crew so that they can come out with video productions to be sent in for videography competitions as well. Yeah.
I see. So, besides these activities, are there any other activities that MVAC does? Does it do digital art or things like that?
Yes. So apart from the four modules and the four types of competitions that we do, we also get a chance to participate in most of the school events because we actually teach our students to handle AV equipment, audio visual equipment very well. And also the public announcement system. So our students are known to be to be specialized in these equipment. So we are involved in most events, I have to say, whether be it the backstage or be it documenting the few events. Yeah.
I see. Thank you, Ms. Ong. All right, next up, our questions are actually for the science explorers. So, Mr. Vincent, can I participate only in robotics or science research?
Hi, good morning. Basically, for Science Explorer, right, every student in the member itself will require to go through either on the science experiment research as well as the robotics program. So it is basically compulsory for every member to go through this when they are in the lower secondary. It is only when they move on to upper secondary from Sec 3 onwards, then they will be able to specialize in a few areas, say, for example, like science experiment research, whereby they will go to labs and do some experiments. And then for robotics, they'll be able to build robots and subsequently program it to move, and as well as explore on various technologies such as maybe microbit or Arduino technologies.
I see. So will students actually be able to do coding in the CCA?
Yes, like I mentioned, right, one of the programs that we have is actually robotics building. So in order to make a robot move, basically coding and programming will be involved. And of course, if we look at our students, when they specialize in Sec 3 level in robotics, we are also looking at students from the elementary level all the way to the advanced level. So we do tier our students in such a way that if they are able better manage in terms of coding, they'll be went on to the advanced level, and that's where they will contribute much in competitions. And basically for competitions, we do have this robotics challenge, National Robotics Challenge, which we participate yearly. Yeah.
I see. Thank you so much, Mr. Vincent.
Thank you.
All right, next up, our questions are for the Environment Club. So, Mr. Kanagara, what happens during Environment Club CCA sessions?
Hi, good morning. During Environment Club CCA sessions, we will be using the time to educate our students in the latest environment programs and news and happenings around the world. So last year, we spent quite a bit of time talking to the students about things like the SG Green Plan, as well as the COP26 summit that happened in Glasgow, to help them to have a better understanding of some of the climate challenges that the world is facing, as well as some of the possible solutions that people have come up with along the way. Now, after learning all that, we also get our students to get their hands a little bit dirty and try and learn, try and actually do some of these experiments to actually try and make the world a more livable and sustainable place. And finally, we also do quite a bit of gardening in the school garden. This is, of course, to help in terms of offsetting our school's carbon footprint. And we put all of this together to try and get our students to be activists for the environment, to go out to their friends, to their comrades in the canteen, to tell them about these environmental challenges, as well as some of the solutions that as students, they can actually carry out. That's what we do in our typical CCA sessions.
I see. Thank you for that. And what are the chances for a club like the Environment Club to achieve as much as, let's say, a sports CCA?
Oh, the chances are very good. In terms of the LEAPS 2.0 CCA scoring system, our Environment Club students tend to do quite well. Most of them, if they have regular attendance and they attend all this, the activities that we have planned, will usually get the 2-point deduction in their at the end of their 4 years or 5 years. Now, this is because we also participate in a lot of competitions. These are competitions held by organizations like the Science Center, the Singapore Environment Council, as well as several other NGOs. These competitions involve things like technopreneurship, prototyping, or just pitching of ideas. So students will be able to use these skills in the future to help them as well in terms of when they go on to their polys or JCs or even in the working world. So in terms of achievement, because of these competitions and experiments, the students will actually do quite well.
Hey, thank you. So now we've come to the end of the segment for Q&A for our clubs and societies. Once again, we had Ms. Ong from MVAC, Mr. Vincent from Science Explorers, and Mr. Kanagara from the Environment Club. Right now, we're going to show you a video to tell you a little bit more about our sports CCAs. Take it away, please.
I joined badminton as my CCA because I wanted to continue pursuing my passion in badminton. I enjoy badminton as it teaches me to have teamwork with my friends and my teammates. It also teaches me to have perseverance and to never give up in competitions.
I chose basketball as my CCA because I am passionate about it and I want to reach my potential. During our basketball trainings, we get to learn about teamwork, discipline, and leadership.
This CCA benefits me in many ways, such as improving my skills and letting me learn a lot more values such as discipline, leadership, and teamwork.
In basketball, I learn a lot from my seniors and teammates. I get to learn different skills such as how to be a leader and most importantly, teamwork.
Basketball has inspired me by how the seniors scored and won many championships for the school. The determination they had was what inspired me the most.
Basketball is a sport that requires teamwork and resilience, and I hope that you will learn the same thing when you join basketball.
Cross country has given me the opportunity to meet many new friends, and they have made trainings more enjoyable. This CCA has made me understand the value of teamwork. Running together with my friends makes me feel more passionate for this CCA, and it pushes me to reach my fullest potential. Cross country has a very warm nature, and it will definitely be a magical experience for you.
I chose Dragon Boat as a CCA because I wanted something that is very different from other sports. I learned that in Dragon Boat, we have to have a very good teamwork among all our teammates so that we can be in sync and have a very good role.
I joined this CCA because it was unique and I have never heard of it before. In this CCA, nothing is achievable unless you work as a team. Everyone has their skills and weaknesses, but together we achieve the same goal.
Volleyball allows me to interact with my fellow teammates from all different streams, and I've made a lot of friends throughout my years in this CCA. Volleyball will give you a lot of unforgettable memories, and I hope to share the same experience I had.
Alright, I hope that video has let you know a little bit more about our sports CCAs. We have to split our sports CCA Q&A into two segments. So first up, we have Mr. Alex from Basketball Boys. We have Miss Ong from, Mrs. Ong from Basketball Girls. We have Madam Wang from Volleyball. And we have Miss Nadia from Cross Country. All right, our first question is actually for basketball boys. So, Mr. Alex, if my child is not able to catch up with their studies, can we reduce the training sessions?
Right, good question. We will suggest that you speak to our teacher in charge. We will arrange with your child to plan out a time management plan. We'll get the subject teachers to support your child from now on, and we'll review, update you accordingly, and see how it goes.
Thank you. And I'm worried about my child getting an injury. So what are some of the safety precautions and measures that are put in place to ensure my child's safety?
Right. Our school, basketball, we have an established training program that train our students to be fit and agile. This will help them prevent injury. Our coaches are experienced at least 10 years. They will adjust the training accordingly to prevent any injury from happening.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Our next questions are actually from Mrs. Ong from Basketball Girls. So what happens if my child has other commitments on training days? What can I do?
Yeah, I see. Not to worry. I mean, it would be great if she can change her schedule. But we do understand that it could be very difficult for her to arrange that. If that's the case, just let the teacher in charge know before the start of the session. Then we can excuse her for the training.
Thank you. And what happens if my child actually has not played sports before? Will my child be able to cope with the tough training?
No worries about that. Okay, we have a separate training plan for those students who have not played sports before. Okay, we have very experienced coaches, and also the teachers will also be there throughout the training session. If she feels that still cannot cope with the training, she can just let the teachers in charge know. Then we'll see how we can help her to adjust to the training. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ong. Our next questions are actually for volleyball. So, Madam Wang, is there training during term breaks and school holidays?
For secondary 1 and 2s, we do train during the March and June holidays. This is to prepare them for the upcoming competition, which is in July. Okay, we train so that students are mentally and physically ready to cope with the intensity of competition when the term starts. However, during the non-competitive season, they will be given a break.
Thank you. And what happens if I'm afraid that my child may not be able to cope with training 3 times a week?
Secondary 1 start training once a week, and we gradually add on training days. The target is for them to train 3 times a week by June. Over time, students are able to pick up time management skills and balance CCA as well as their studies. So I don't think that will be a cause for worry. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Madam Wang. Our next question is for cross country. So, Miss Nadia, where is training usually conducted?
All right, so we usually train 3 times a week. Due to prevailing SMM, we've only been able to train inside the school compound. So our students have not been leaving the school compounds for about 2 years. However, we hope for measures to ease soon, and then we'll be able to return to our usual external training grounds, which are Jurong Lake Gardens and also Clementi Stadium. Jurong Lake Gardens is not an issue for students because it's just across the road from us. Takes about 5 to 10 seconds for them to get there. However, whenever we do venture out to Clementi Stadium, transport is usually not provided. We have a senior group of team members that will be given the role as Sec 1 mentors. So these senior team members are usually the ones to guide their juniors for the first few months of training so that the Sec 1s are able to get to external training grounds safely, and then they will be given the responsibility of heading there on their own.
I see. So for cross country, will all the students do will the students only be running during cross country?
I mean, that's quite a natural conclusion to make. They are the cross-country CCA, right? So yes, typically they do a bit more running compared to the typical other sports CCAs, but we do include a fair bit of other things also. They are frequently practicing their drills in order to ensure that their form while they are running is perfected, and then therefore their running is more efficient. We also include a fair amount of strength training for them. I mean, like strength training has been proven to improve the efficiency of their muscles, helps them increase their endurance while they are running the long distances that we cover. So not to worry, they are not just running, they do experience the spectrum of fitness training that we include for them.
Okay, and that's it for part 1 of our Q&A session for the sports teams. Once again, we have Mr. Alex from basketball boys. We had Madam Ong from, Mrs. Ong, sorry, from basketball girls, Madam Wang from volleyball, and Miss Nadia from cross country. Do give us a moment while we change over to our second group of sports teachers in charge, as well as our subject head of PE and CCA, and our HOD of PE and CCA. So while we get ready, let me remind you once again that you can continue to ask questions on our Google form that you can check through the QR code that is currently on your screen. And we will get to those questions actually on our school website, right? We'll post the answers to those questions on our school website, right? It seems that our sports CCA teachers in charge are almost ready. So, all right, let's begin the second segment of our Q&A session. So right now we have Mr. Ridwan from Dragon Boat. We have Mr. Matt from floorball. We have Mr. Neo from badminton. We have Ms. Ong, who is our SH of PE and CCA, as well as Mr. Noor, who is our HOD of CCA and PE. All right, so the first question is actually going to be for Dragon Boat. And Mr. Ridwan, does my child need to be a good swimmer to join?
Actually, students do not need to be a good swimmer because during training, personal flotation devices are worn by the students, and we have never had any history of the boat capsizing during training or students falling into the water. However, it would be good if the students know some basic swimming skills and be able to swim at least while wearing the personal flotation device.
And must students have any special talents or be strong in order to join the CCA?
Students don't need to have any specific talents or any even prior history of rowing or paddling or kayaking, because all the techniques of dragon boating will be taught during our training sessions by a qualified coach who used to be in the national team. Also, students do not need to be particularly strong. We accept any students of shape and size, because during training time, students will be able to develop their stamina and strength. And over time, everybody in the Dragon Boat CCA will be capable rowers.
Thank you, Mr. Ridwan. Our next questions are actually for floorball. So, Mr. Matt, is there a trial for floorball, or how will the selection be like for floorball?
Right, thank you for the question. We do not have a selection exercise for floorball. However, in term 1, weeks 3 and 4, we have the experiential fortnight. So CCAs that do not conduct the selection exercise at floorball will conduct or run trial sessions that students can sign up for based on their interest. This means that students get to have a feel of how the CCA would be like before making a decision. During the same period, our teachers will also be on the lookout for students who exhibit qualities or skills that are suitable for their respective CCAs.
See, and what happens if my child has experience in floorball or hockey in primary school? Will he be automatically considered or offered floorball as a CCA?
Right. We do not assign students CCAs based on their prior experience in primary school. What we do here is we like to encourage students to choose CCAs based on the interest, and as we know, interest may change over time. right? So they might want to try something new when they start into secondary school. But what we do is, if your child has prior experience in floorball or hockey in primary school or in external clubs, that would put him or her at an advantage if he decides to choose floorball as a CCA. However, being a team sport, we look beyond just skills and talents in the sport. We also would like to look out for other qualities that make the student a good team player. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matt. Next up, we have questions for badminton. So my child is interested in badminton, Mr. Neo, but he is not selected to join. Why is it so?
Hi everyone. Firstly, badminton in Jurong is actually a competitive CCA, meaning we actually train and prepare the students, our badminton players for national school games. So definitely we need to we will need to select the students based on their current skill level, right? So as to maintain the quality of training and standards. All right. But having said that, badminton is actually one of the modules that is in our Set 1 PE syllabus. All right. So students who are interested in badminton but not selected for the school CCA can actually still pursue their interest via the PE lessons. And also, Jurong actually has the Jurong Sports Awards. All right. And the students with interest in badminton in particular can actually apply for the sports award. And if he or she is actually awarded, there will be funds available for them to pursue their interest in this area. Yeah, so yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Neo. So how many times does badminton CCA actually train a week? I'm concerned that my child might not be able to cope with the rigors of training coupled with the academic requirements.
Yeah, badminton actually, CCA actually trains 3 times a week. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and each training session lasts for around 3 hours. Yeah, definitely juggling academics and together with sports training is definitely a challenging issue. But rest assured, our aim is to train them to be student athletes. Student comes first. All right, so definitely priority it will be given to their academic performance. And the badminton CCA, besides myself, we actually have 3 other assistant teacher in charge, and each of us is actually a mentor to one level. So in the event that any of our badminton players actually struggling with academics or any other issue, we will be there to mentor them and work together with them and make the necessary adjustments accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. Neo. All right, now we have questions that are a little bit more general for our SH Miss Ong. Ms. Ong, my child was not selected for the sport that he or she was interested in. He or she wasn't even considered for the second trial. Can he or she still be considered for the CCA?
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the question. For this year's sports selection, actually, we offer every student the opportunity to come for the second round of trials for the CCA that they have indicated interest in. So if your child has not been offered this opportunity, perhaps you can ask him or her to approach Mr. Nor or myself, and we will be happy to make the arrangement. As a school, we do face constraints with limited resources. So to say that means that for one sport CCA to taking too many students will compromise the quality of CCA experience for the students. So we really need the understanding of the parents to understand that we cannot be having too many students in one particular CCA, and we try to provide a meaningful CCA experience for all our students. Furthermore, as Mr. New has mentioned, they are welcome to sign up for the sports award, which will provide some financial support for them to learn a new skill out of school.
Thank you. And will my child always be given their first choice of CCA?
Okay, students will generally be given the top choice of their CCA. During allocation, we will consider their interest, their aptitude, and of course, certain CCA specific requirement. For example, they will need to be confident in the water for dragon boat. But once again, I'd like to remind parents and seek your understanding that we have limited resources and it will not be possible for one CCA to take in too many students. We will be happy to work with your child to explore their interest in the CCAs that we have on offer. And on that note, I'd like to remind students and parents that the CCA experiential sessions, the links to the sign up are available on the school website, and they will be open at 12 noon today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ong. So, Mr. Noor, our head of department for CCA and PE, will be taking the next few questions. Mr. Noor, can my child join more than one co-curricular activity?
Hi, thanks for the question. In secondary school, the intensity of CCA is rather high in such a way that they train 2 or 3 times a week, and during peak season, they are training even more than 3 times a week. So with that regards, students are only encouraged to have only one CCA. Usually, they will not be able to cope having 2 CCA in secondary school.
So during the current pandemic, most activities and competitions are suspended. How will students obtain points for their CCA?
All right, at the moment, the Ministry of Education have given school instruction to actually give students, if let's say in a normal situation, non-COVID situation, they will be representing the school. So by default, in the system, in the LEAP system, we will be giving them that representation points. Okay, even though they didn't have the chance to represent school during this period of time. So no worries, they will not be shortchanged. All right, and as what we have seen this last year when with our students who have graduated, their grades are not affected by these measures.
Thank you, Mr. Noor. And can my child change CCA after a year of trying it out? Will it affect them in any way?
All right. Yes, your child can change the CCA at the end of the year. Usually what we do is we allow some changes at the start of the following year. But please bear in mind, the nature of the LEAP system do encourage students to actually stay in the same CCA throughout their 4 or 5 years. And if let's say a student who decide to keep on changing CCA, likelihood, I give you an example, likelihood they will not be given the leadership role. For example, compared to a student, okay, who is from Sec 1, okay, they are in band all the way until Sec 4. So at Sec 3, probably he will be given the band major rank. Compared to a person who just joined band in Sec 3, very unlikely he will be given a band major when he just joined that CCA. So the system actually encourages the students to stay in the same CCA within 4 or 5 years. But we do understand if let's say there was a such student lost total interest in that CCA for whatever reason, or because of medical reason, they can't continue in the sports, for example, and they have to change CCA. We do make changes for these unique cases of students. Yeah.
I see, thank you. And if my child has taken the vaccine and missed the sports trial, can he or she still be considered for those sports?
All right. During the initial trial, we have gone around and checked with the students who were vaccinated and they can't take the trial, whether they are keen to take the sports trial subsequently. So we have taken note of these students who actually shown keen interest, for example, to be in the volleyball or basketball. Once the vaccination status have lapsed the 2 weeks, we will be inviting them to actually go down to have a look at the child and go for the trial itself.
I see. Now we have our last question that we have time for. Are there any CCAs available on Saturdays?
All right. We do follow the government recommendation. That is the 5-day week. We do not have CCA that runs their training on Saturday, but we do have competitions that run privately, okay, on Saturdays. For example, some basketball competition, cross-country competition that is run on Saturday and Sunday. Those unique time, yes, the students will be required to go for the CCA and represent the school on a Saturday or a Sunday. But other than that, there isn't any training on Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you, Mr. Noor. And we've now come to the end of the Q&A section for actually all the CCAs. Once again, we have Mr. Ridwan from Dragon Boat, we have Mr. Matt from floorball, Mr. Neo from badminton, Ms. Ong, our SH of CCA and PE, and Mr. Noor, our HOD of CCA and PE. Thank you once again for joining us for today's CCA Display Day. Right, I hope that we've managed to answer most of your questions. If not, you can still upload questions via the QR code that we showed earlier. Thank you once again for joining us. Do remember that signups for Experiential Week started at 12 o'clock today and will end on the 12th of January, that's Wednesday, at 12 noon as well. All right. Do, of course, follow us on Instagram at Jurong Sec and Facebook at Jurong Sec School, right? To get the latest updates of our exciting school activities. And we would like you to please scan the QR code to give us some feedback on our CCA Display Day so that we can create a better experience for all of our students in future events as well. Once again, I was Mr. Darius, your host for today, and thank you so much for joining us today.